Hello and welcome to Celtic World, the YouTube channel and podcast that celebrates Celtic's worldwide fan base. From Inverclyde to Instagram, Blantyre to Blue Sky. Wherever you happen to be watching from, you're very much part of a Celtic world. And we have a very Celtic, I suppose you could say, feeling to tonight's guests, contributors. Brian in Ireland, what about you?
Not too bad, sir. Again, I know we always like to talk about the weather, but it is bitterly cold here in Banbridge, -3. I'm sure Ian's the same. But good to be on. It's always a ray of sunshine to see the boys.
Well, it may be cold in Wales, but one ray of positive sunshine is this Christmas-obsessed character, Ian. Ian, I don't need to ask how you are. I can see the festive spirit is oozing out of every hole in your body.
Love this time of year. I think I've always enjoyed Christmas, but having having a child has like kind of renewed the enthusiasm, the belief, and all that sort of thing. So yeah, so put up the tree at the weekend, just getting all the decorations out and all that sort of stuff, everything down from the loft. So yeah, I'm loving it. The only problem in Cardiff is I think I've been down in Cardiff now about 21 years, and I've seen snow 3 times. So that's the only kind of upsetting thing. Don't get much snow down here, so have to travel into a valley if I want to get my fix of that. But it is, yeah, to your point, Brian, it is cold. It's cold, but I've got adequate gear to keep me warm.
Yeah, your excitement at getting all the decorations up already is well, I mean, I shouldn't call it annoying, but I will. It's quite annoying because it's far too early.
I think there's no immediate of the bah humbugs, Gav. Come on.
November's too early. Second week in December's time enough. And then down on Boxing Day.
Of course it is. I'm just going through the comments here, saying hello to everyone.
Hello to everyone.
Monty.
Morning, Dickie.
My social media friend.
It's always great to football over Christmas, and you get the stage. You don't know what day it is. You're like, oh, there's football on.
Yeah, that little period between kind of Christmas and New Year's that's just packed with stuff is always good.
All right, so I'm sharing a bunch of comments because they're all relevant. Not everyone watches every show, but certainly for the last few, we've made a point of saying let's keep the conversation, roughly based on Celtic and football and, what we're here to talk about. And this is not a show that has anything to do with the United States of America or politics. So comments of that nature will not be viewed upon with any great kindness.
And Gav, I would like to apologise for the Coronation Street crushes section a few weeks ago. I couldn't resist it. The guys were in great form. Bet Lynch and all the rest of them.
Well, it's interesting when you're playing back a video that you've recorded and you're really keen to see what everyone makes of it, and people just seem to completely ignore it and talk about who they used to fancy on soap operas when they were 16.
Sorry.
Anyway, it was funny. All right, what are we here to talk about then today? If not Bet Lynch. Bet Lynch was your crush? Well, we're not going to talk about
it. Tino O'Brien for me. I'm a lot younger than you guys.
Didn't hear
it was a late 70s. Sorry, Ian?
I was going to say Tina O'Brien was mine, but I'm a lot younger than you guys. Don't know if anyone knows Tina O'Brien in the chat. I can't remember what she was in Coronation Street.
Helen Flanagan's sister, no. There we go.
No, Helen Flanagan probably tail end for me. I think I was getting a bit old, but who knows? Can't remember.
Tail end, was that your nickname for her?
Tail end.
Anyway. All right, this is speaking of fluff. That's what we're here to talk about. First thing we're going to do is talk about international break fluff. The kind of stuff that other channels have been stretching out into entire videos. We'll be dealing with those issues, but giving them the 3 or 4 minutes they each deserve. Then we'll get on to celebrating BS, whatever that could be. Oh, by the way, Ian, did you get a message saying it's not being shared? You've got a problem sharing to your stream?
Yeah, I think because you didn't want to get political. But I've not. I tried premium Twitter for a while, and then I didn't feel as if the value.
Oh well, if
was
you're not
there.
premium, you can't do it.
No. So not allowed to share this live anymore. So I've just retweeted it.
Well, that might give away what celebrating BS is all about. But if you still don't know, stay tuned for later. And then we'll move on to the next phase of fixtures, because international break's over, and then a little bit of Celtic socials. So that is the plan. All right then. Where to begin? Well, I suppose we should begin with some stories from the international break, and we'll kick it off with the main man, Nicholas Kuhn. This headline, I mean, we know all of these stories, so we'll just touch on them briefly. Nicholas Kuhn hype sent into overdrive by Germany boss as merited Celtic interest explodes. I don't know what the last bit is, amid $7.5 million succession plan. But yeah, Julian Nagelsmann has name-checked Nicholas Kuhn, who has expressed an ambition to break into the German side, which many scoffed at last year. What do you make of all this, Brian? Does it give you sphincter tightening moments or not?
Again, it is what it is. You play well, we put people on a platform, and if they do well, they get attention. I wouldn't, like, $7.5 million's nothing. I would want a lot more than that. I would want put a 2 in front of it, maybe, or at least a 1. But fair play. If he's getting, I mean, it just shows you can come to us and still, have ambition and play for Germany. And the way Engels is going, that's a great example. He's able to play for Belgium, so there's no reason why Kuhn can't. I mean, certainly when we beat Leipzig the other evening, there would have been a lot of German reporters and stuff there. But no, the guy can go on to bigger and better things. Just if he does, give him, wish him all the best. But like anything else, once they've left, I'm sorry, I'm dead.
I think it stresses the importance of not only qualifying for Europe, but playing well in Europe. Because I think obviously we always say, oh, it's a good carrot to come and play in the Champions League. But I think you've seen with performances come the kind of eyes on you. We said in the build up to the Leipzig game, when I was on with Paul, I was saying, look, don't rule us out against Leipzig. And one of the reasons I said was, Kuhn will fancy it because he's German, he's playing against the German team. And I think that's a bit of extra motivation. And like Brian said there, that's all the German media was there. And I think there was a De Bild, which is the German national news kind of sports newspaper, main newspaper, saying like, who's unknown German guy basically puts Leipzig to the sword. So I think, then he's kind of just people have wanted to find out more about him and things like that. And he's got a good pedigree because he was in, a lot of the Bayern Youth Academy, Leipzig, Ajax Academy. So he has, he's got good pedigree and he was just waiting for his chance. So again, good bit of business for us. I mean, it's coming at the wrong time because we don't want to lose him in January. I think he's got a ridiculous amount of goals and assists. So if he gets called up for Germany, it's at least a 2 put in the front of that, Brian. Because if you become a German international, that's not like becoming, no offence to kind of like Matt O'Reilly, a Denmark international. That's, that's like a proper elite nation. So let's see. Let's take this as it is. It's a recognition for how good a start to the season that he's had. And quite rightly, he's in the conversation.
Question from Mickey Moynihan. Can Brodge take any credit for Kuhn's rebooted form? What do you say to that, Brian?
I would say yes. And again, it's because I remember I heard the other evening after when he came on, I remember he come on for us the first couple of games and he had problems with his teeth and all kinds of settling in issues. And Roger said to him in the training in the dressing room, like, come on, show us what you're about. And then, okay, I think the confidence Rodgers has in himself now, showbiz Brendan is bringing that out in Nicholas Kuhn, and you think if you rewind your way back to the pre-season games against Chelsea and Man City, the main man there was Kuhn. I remember thinking to myself, I mean, he came in the right hand side and cut in. I think it was Man City or Chelsea. He scored a great goal, but if Rodgers it's like almost like if Rodgers has got the confidence, if he's got the the swagger, then the players will follow suit. And Rodgers does have that abundance. So I do agree that he should take a lot of credit for Kuhn's rebooted form. And obviously,
and Rodgers has always been good with wingers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like if you think about back to Liverpool, he brought Raheem Sterling on really well first time with us. Guys at Sinclair, Roberts, even Forrest. I mean, Forrest. A lot of people wanted kind of Forrest gone, and he flourished under it. So I think wingers have always been a position, and maybe this is something to do with being confidence players. Wingers are confidence players, and there's probably no better in the business to kind of inflate your ego and get you going than the Brodge.
Yeah. It's Tom Ford shoes.
Yeah.
I actually googled a pair of them, Gav. They're the cheapest ones on eBay. They're about £800.
Jeez. Brian, we haven't spoken since the musical number of Nicholas Kuhn was dropped. The Kraftwerk tune. Did you enjoy that?
Oh, fantastic. Love it.
I had various WhatsApp groups that I'm involved in, Gav, saying, "Is this your podcast? Are you responsible for this?" And I said, "No." I said, "That's all. That's all Gav's work." But there was equal praise as there was dismay. So I think it's a welcome
dismay
return.
can get as the line in it said.
Was that 81 or 82? Kraft, the model 81, wasn't it?
I don't know what year it was, but it
Remember
seemed to suit.
Remember being on a school trip to Park Lodge, going somewhere, and it was number 3, and
And you're breaking up a wee bit occasionally.
Sorry.
We're going to move it on to Luis Palma. Ian, he scored a couple of goals, didn't he, against Mexico? And that's another eye-catching thing. We talked about Kuhn catching the eye in the Champions League. Scored a couple of goals against a sort of second-tier international team like Mexico. Is that significant of anything more than him fetching a good price for us when he does leave?
Do you know?
Or is it proof that he still does have a future?
I don't think it's either or. I think it's more of the same. We've discussed Luis Palma, and I think I've discussed Luis Palma quite a lot in this. The problem, this just encapsulates the problem with Palma. He's got all the ability in the world. It's the consistency and the decision making that lets him down. When he's good, he's really good. And when he's on it, he's really on it. But he's not like a Samaras type that, is like levels above. He's a Luis Palma type. Is there a place for him in the squad? There might be. He's definitely got the ability, but it's, unless he can improve the consistency decision making, no, I think it's just this. He might be suited to a better league. Another league where there's kind of less pressure on him to perform week in, week out. Celtic is a very different beast. So no, it's more of the same for him. Look, I like Luis Palma. I wish him well. I just don't think he's cut out for us, and I've talked about it a lot.
We have talked about it a lot. And one thing that people often say is, he'll have a future, but it won't be with us. I suspect not only will he have a future somewhere, but it won't be with us, but he'll be one of those players that goes somewhere else and actually looks amazing, to the point where we're like, how did we not see that? Why did that not happen for us? And I was wondering, can you think of many examples of players like that? Doesn't have to be for us, but a player who looks okay somewhere and then goes somewhere else.
Look at Lewis Morgan. Lewis Morgan was an absolute terrible player, and he's gone off to the MLS, and he looks like blooming Messi's brother. He's still rubbish, to be fair. Lewis Morgan, I think that's more the league and the standard of some of those teams, but that's the one that immediately comes to mind. I can think of plenty of other ones that left us and have failed. That's more of the story.
That's not what we're talking about.
Apparently, Burnaby's really doing well, and
that's another one.
Tim Vickery came out and said, that I know he's Argentinian, but he made a point of saying that they're trying to see if he's got a Brazilian grandfather or something like that. But it's the pressure of they leave us and they go somewhere else. And what do you call your man, Pookie? He did well at Norwich. He did well at Norwich, and I can't really think of. There's not too many that have left and I mean Henrik obviously.
He was a surprise that he did well somewhere else.
I know.
He was
I
rubbish
couldn't
for us.
believe when Henrik left, went to Barcelona, won the Champions League, big Sutton. It's not too many, to be fair. I can't think of any who've left us. I mean, Oliver Tebley went to, I think it was Sheffield United or Wigan or somebody, and he still was rubbish.
Of
But it
course, the
does
one that
happen a
never
lot.
came to us, and went to well, McGinn. I mean, say the name McGinn.
Did I hear he's got more goals? He's got more goals than McCoist for Scotland.
Yeah,
I think he's equal or something, is he?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Unbelievable.
That is surprising. All right. Speaking of top quality Scottish talent, Anthony Ralston, who hardly gets a look in for us. A great couple of days. This is a tweet from Craig Selt. Well, I say tweet. It might be a tweet. I don't know. It's hard to tell these days. A great couple of days for Scotland, and kudos to Anthony Ralston, who was solid in both wins. After some of the stick he took last month from Scotland fans, says a lot about his character. Now, I saw Paul having a debate with people about Ralston, sort of saying, look, we won't find a better backup right back who's happy to be a backup right back than this guy, Celtic fan and all. You go along with that, Ian? You're nodding.
Oh yeah. I mean, because someone I can't remember, and I don't like. I'm not throwing shade at whoever posted it, but someone was like saying like, should we be looking at a different right back in January because kind of Ralston's not up to it, and there was a time where I thought Ralston. I mean, I think we all thought Ralston was completely done. He was out loan in St Johnstone and Dundee United, and didn't look as if he could cut the mustard. Then Ange completely revitalised him, and he's been a very good backup since then. I'm not saying he's like elite level, but he's more than good enough to play backup and be a good squad member and come in and do a job domestically and stuff like that. And I just think Anthony Ralston gets a lot of disrespect. If he was a different nationality, he wouldn't be getting the same disrespect. And for me, I agree with, I didn't see the comment from Paul, but yeah, he's a good, solid backup right back. Could we do better? Yes, we could, but he's way, way low down the list in the priorities. And I think he's one of those guys that knows the club, knows the culture and things like that, good in the dressing room. And I think that is important, as well as being able to come in domestically and fill in, which he's done kind of no problem at all. There was someone who was discussing with me about, I can't remember which game it was it the Ross County game where he and Hattati get taken off, and it kind of changed when Johnson came on and got that goal. I think it was Ross County, I can't remember. And Ralston had let us down. I don't think Ralston has ever let us down. He's got a limited ability, yes, but always gives 100%. I think he's actually got a decent cross on him. I think he's got a decent engine on him. And I think his performances from Scotland show that, he can be relied upon. And he's, when he's come on for us this season, can be relied on.
I think.
Does anybody else know, Brian, do you know why Mickey Moynihan is surprised that Ralston wears a medium top? Why is that surprising?
Surprising probably because he probably looks a bit large. But I mean, they don't.
Footballers are all wee whippets.
Yeah, wee whippets. They're not. There's nobody. I remember hearing the story about Neil Ruddock going to West Ham, and it was like a triple XL he had to wear. Player fit top, the shorts. It's ridiculous. But no, if Ralston talking about, if Ralston was playing for Motherwell or Aberdeen or St Mirren, and he was putting in those performances that he does for Scotland, they'll be saying that they'd be bigging him up. The fact of the matter is that he plays for us, and the middle of the road sort of Scottish commentators like what's his name, ex-Rangers, BBC One, Stephen, what's his name, with a beard, he's a bit of a pretty boy. BBC Scotland, what's his name? He does their equivalent of Match of the Day sports thing.
Oh, Steve Thompson. And then there's a couple of other sort of ex-Rangers, Panthers, Billy Dodds and all the rest of it. So that's the fact. If he was playing for Hearts, he would be the next Hansen, In fact, he plays for us. It's like, oh, he's a bit of a donkey. He's this, he's that.
You see Mahesh's point there, that there was nothing to choose between him and Juranovic when he was here. I remember Ian Wright commentating on that, saying, this Juranovic can't be that good. He's being kept out of the team by Anthony Ralston.
Anthony Ralston.
But Ralston deputised for a good 4 or 5 months when Juranovic was out, and again some important goals under Ange, that Ralston scored and stuff like that. So mentality wise, and that's the thing as well, is we've signed a lot of guys. I mean, we're just talking about Palmer. If you could transport Anthony Ralston's work rate and attitude into Palmer, you'd be laughing.
And every team needs a quiet guy that gets on with it. Dennis Irwin, and just goes on, gets stuck in, no show. Just that's okay. I'll do a job for you. We all need that. There's always somebody in work who's quietly going about their business. And
is that you, Brian?
That's not me.
Your place of work?
No, I'm not. Never too quiet, But I do
the cement that holds the whole thing together.
No, I don't know about that. I get shifted around a lot. I'm like a jar of pickles in the fridge, just sort of keep getting moved about. There we go.
But they don't go off. They stay for a long time.
No, they don't go off, but they work better with others. You couldn't eat a pickle on its own, but with a bit of a burger and.
Okay, I think we've stretched that as far as we can. Let's move it on. Do we need Lennon Miller? Would he be good for us? Would we be good for him? This story's obviously been doing the rounds. Would he get any game time? That's one of the key issues that you see reported anyway. This is Daily Record saying Rangers are in the driving seat because they're so shit they can give him game time.
I know Craig Moore said he would walk into the Rangers team. I think half the league would walk into the Rangers team at the moment. The Aberdeen team would, our team would. I don't park that aside. I think a lot of the commentary around Lennon Miller, and we saw him recently, right? And he was a standout against us. And if a guy's a standout against us, then generally they have something good. I think the right thing to do would be to buy him and loan him back to Motherwell, because I don't think it's right to take him out there because he's going to get the game time. I don't think he'd get the game time with us now. But I think he's definitely, if you're saying who is the kind of, outside of maybe Ben Doak, who's the best young Scottish talent that we kind of know of and is on the radar, it's Lennon Miller. And I think we need to look at that squad for the Champions League in terms of homegrown players. We've lost Turnbull, who was one of those ones that ticked that box. So yeah, get him in, low outlay in terms of the potential upside for me.
And then coming at the start of next season, we'll be 1 or 2 short in midfield, you think? Because they will have been sold.
Could be, but we also need to... And look, Calmac's not going to go on forever, right? So we need to look at who's kind of replacing him. If Bernardo and Engels continue to have decent seasons, I think Engels will stay for a little bit longer, so Bernardo. But Hatate, if he keeps on performing well, is he the next one that we could maybe sell on? And then there's another slot in there. So I think, future planning. And I think he's one of the top young players in the league, and he's one of the top midfielders in the league. Lennon Miller can score a goal, very technically good, as we saw. He's hitting free kicks, corners and stuff like that. So I don't think it's going to be, I can't see it being wasted money if we do it right and develop him in the right way.
Okay, and then here's another one to skip over, I think, quite quickly, but it's a name that's come up. Celtic are eyeing up a move for Burnley midfielder Josh Brownhill. This is from the very reliable sounding Stevie Romano. There are a few other clubs interested, including clubs in Italy. Celtic could agree this on a pre-contract and have it announced before the window opens in January. I don't know if we've got much to say about this one, Brian. Is this a player is this something that interests you?
I'll be honest with you, I don't. But if it's always good. As Ian said, Calmac's legs eventually will go, and we need new blood. And he's young. We get him on a pre-contract. It's a safe enough bet, and then Rodgers can coach him. I don't know what position. I know he's midfield, but is he like a holding midfielder? Is he a 10? What is he?
I don't know. I just watched one video that another Celtic content creator made, and very quickly came to the conclusion that there was nothing in this story. but it required a whole video to tell us there was nothing in it. So we should probably just jump on over that one, shall we? I think that is there anything else you want to talk about that happened over the international break in terms of players or?
No, I think do you know one of the good things is I haven't. I mean, like touch wood, I haven't heard of any injuries, any fresh injuries, which is always a good one to hear. I mean, I think the players will get back to Lennox Town this week and start to train, so we might hear of one or two, but hopefully not. And if we don't hear of any injuries, that's a big success going into a busy period.
No, it was a busy period also over the international break. One significant thing happened in the lives of many Celtic fans, and that is the experience of signing up for Blue Sky and getting started on this new social media platform. Enthusiasts will say it's everything Twitter could have been if it wasn't for Elon Musk, who's renamed X, became a cesspit of far-right porn bots, conspiracy theorists, crypto scammers, and edgelords. Blue Sky promises to give you more control over your experience so you can limit what you see and interact with the things you want to see and interact with. So, is this a great migration? Or are we all going to end up back on X? You hedging your bets? Let's go to Ian first, because you were among the pioneers of Blue Sky. So tell us.
I actually signed up for it about 6 to 8 weeks ago. I can't remember what it was.
That makes you a pioneer.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it's been around for a wee bit, to be fair.
A Celtic pioneer.
Yeah. I think let's be honest. We need to kind of see how it goes. I think I've said in the chat, I think like there's a fair amount of kind of virtue signalling in the move, and not from the Celtic fans. I think actually genuinely some of the chat and the ability to kind of clear the decks is kind of welcome when it comes to talking about Celtic. But I think on the whole, I think the catalyst, without getting into the politics, are something slightly different. I don't think Twitter or X is as bad as people make it out. I think if you take the time to curate your experience by blocking people, muting certain words, etc., I think a lot of people don't understand the concept of an algorithm. If you interact with the stuff you don't like, you are going to see more of it. That is just how an algorithm works. And Blue Sky, if it gets any sort of success, will reach those levels again. So just enjoy it at the moment. I think it's good. What's nice for me is I was an early adopter of Twitter. So I think people always look at me as kind of one of the big accounts because I've got a lot of followers. As I've always said, it's because of longevity. I talk as much shite as everyone else. And it's nice to see that all the people that are going across are kind of building up that following and things like that. But what I would say to everyone that's gone over, the same thing will happen. If you talk with people, if you interact with people, if you're not a dickhead on there, then your kind of followers will rise organically. TBC, if it stands the test of time, because I think people actually do like a bit more of a robust argument and seeing stuff outside their bubble. So I think people will still stay in X, but for the moment, enjoy Blue Sky because it's a purple patch.
Well, before we come to Brian for his views on it, let's enjoy a little visual demonstration of Blue Sky and what's been happening among Celtic people over the international break. There you go. There's a nice little video, Brian. Introduce Blue Sky. Are you excited by the utopian dream of joining this social platform?
Well, I come off social media for a while. I was going down too many rabbit holes, P. Diddy and all kinds of things. And no.
Ironically,
Let me
quantify
quantify this. No, it was the conspiracy theories and adrenochrome and all kinds of stuff. So I had to come off. It wasn't good for my trying to get to sleep. But no, I'll create an account for Blue Sky and maybe see how we get on. But I didn't really communicate too much. It was more for information. Twitter X is very good for news as it happens in the moment, and certainly for football rumours and fantasy football, things like that. Oh, Joe Bloggs has injured himself. Whereas, BBC Sport, you're like 3 hours later, did you hear that Pochettino got sacked? It's great for that kind of thing. Never interact with anybody apart from remember when we were trying to get rid of Lennon in the COVID season, and everything I did was anytime Celtic put a post up, I put the Ghostbusters sign with Lennon and Lawwell. So that was my interaction, and I was told I was very negative about it, but it had to happen. But no, we'll give it a go. Have a look at Blue Sky and see what the other contributors are doing. It's good for information, but I'll not be P. Diddy hole. There we go, Craig. Did anyone see the Mike? Did anyone see the Mike Tyson picture? Mike Tyson in a jockstrap? No.
Yeah, well, they showed that live on Netflix. This is going to get top though, and it's going to say top Celtic World podcast contributor talks about jars of pickles and P. Diddy parties.
Oh no! I'm raised never got invited.
Dear. Well, let's back to Blue Sky. A Celtic World is on it, because it's a good place to, share little snippets of the show and fun things and sort of put across what the atmosphere of a Celtic World is all about. So in terms of it being a place to reach out to people, I'm pretty excited about it because it's taken me 2 years to get the same number of followers as it's taken in a week on Blue Sky, 2 years on X to get to 2,000 or so, and a week of, adding everyone and, trying to, populate Blue Sky with decent Celtic content and attract people. Has done the same thing now. Whether it sticks, I don't know, but I'm all up for it. Why not? Okay.
It's just get any kind of Celtic content, and as you say, over the period of the national break, first I'll go back to the likes of Open Goal again, Cy Ferry. So for content, I know we're not really trying to promote. There was a great interview with Alan Brazil. It was done a few months ago, which led on to Ray Parler. But there's some funny stories. But yeah, let's get registered. And I'm all about Celtic content. I don't care where I get it from.
Okay, well, let's move on the conversation then, shall we, to discussing the thumbnail of this show was Jambos versus Juggernaut. It's the Jam Tarts against the Juggernaut that is Celtic. So before we get into previewing that game and the next round of fixtures, as Kaiser says, every day is a school day on a Celtic World. So a thought struck me when I was doing the notes, and I wonder, will you find it as interesting as I did? What is a Juggernaut? What does that word mean? Where does that come from?
Is a Juggernaut is it not a class of ship?
That's what I was thinking. Naut sounds nautical, obviously, N-A-U-T.
Because there's Juggernaut and then there's Dreadnought. There's some sort of classification in size, I thought.
Is it not one of those big lorries in America, Juggernaut?
That's what Craig Young's saying, a big lorry, unstoppable. I mean, this is all true, but, well, if you're all sitting quietly, children, I'll have that lesson revealed to you. Here we go. A juggernaut in current English uses is an unstoppable force. It originates in the mid-19th century. Juggernaut is the early rendering of English of Juggernaut, an important deity in the Hindu traditions of eastern and northeastern India. The meaning originates from the Hindu temple cars, which are chariots, often huge, that go in processions, and they're very big and weighty. And Europeans have been fascinated by accounts that claim that pilgrims threw themselves under the temple cars, an excess of fanaticism. So the car of Juggernaut looked something like this. There you go. So it's from the Indian Juggernaut. Who'd have thunk? Huh?
Looks like a Pope mobile. Early Pope mobile. Yeah.
Is that pretty good, Ian? You feeling
Yeah,
rich?
I love a fact, love an origin story. Yeah, great.
Let me see what some people are chucking in a few little. Limana's Chariots of the Gods. Monty, a Juggernaut is him in his bedroom. I won't read the rest of that. Okay. Monty's full of talk of his own prowess, isn't he? In the chat. Goodness me.
Edinburgh.
I don't know what that is. Am I supposed to get that?
Edinburgh, where the big girl was in Ross Abbott's Madhouse, one for the kids. I think she put you in mind of grot bags, you know, the the door. She was the sort of not so pretty. She looked like the grandfather out of the Munsters, you know, the vampire, the old grandfather. So she had a face like him. God love her. Don't I know she wasn't one of my fantasies.
I'm glad to hear that. All right then. Next fixtures. Check out this series of next fixtures, Ian. Hearts away, Club Bruges, Ross County, Aberdeen away, Hibernian, Dinamo Zagreb away, and then Rangers in the cup final. I mean, tell me that's not mouth-watering.
Yeah, I mean, look, all really difficult fixtures apart from Rangers, obviously. So all going to be a challenge. No, joking aside, the thing is, this is a good one to get them all motivated. I'm sure Rodgers will be in there saying everyone's got a part to play because we're going to have injuries and it's going to be a tough time. Difficult to know which are the most important ones there because they're all important. There's not one that you kind of think Ross County will probably stand out as the one that you would say is going to be the easiest out the bunch. I don't know, but good time to be a Celtic fan because it's all big games and we're on a good run of form. Hearts is going to be difficult. That's our next one, and then get through that and then on to Bruges, which is a big opportunity because if we take 3 points at home there, we're all but qualified. So yeah, it's difficult to look too far ahead.
It's difficult, but it's fascinating when you look at this. This is how many fixtures is there? Are there 7? These are the next 7 games. As you say, no easy games, although I see someone just saying that this Hearts game should be quite routine.
Hibs at home should be easy.
It's simply the biggest team in the country versus bottom of the league. Well, yeah, almost. But yeah, these are very exciting. I can't believe the Club Bruges match is next Thursday, or for you, Wednesday. Is it Wednesday for you? Yeah. Wednesday night. 4 a.m. for me. Delicious. In fact, the Hearts game's at 3:45 a.m. What's going on? This is mad.
Yeah, it's a weird fixture that I think I saw Luke McCowan was doing something for the Celtic charity, and he was asked about it, and he said it just kind of feels like a midweek game, but on the Saturday. Yeah, it's an odd time. Let's be honest, it's probably something to do with Sky and TV. Yeah. They've just told Neil Doncaster what he's got to do, and he's jumped like the insert your own insult there.
Was looking forward to something creative.
No, I mean, my dislike for Neil Doncaster is strong. There are very few people that have stolen a wage like that guy has. An utter clown, a shambles for Scotland, and I just can't believe he's still in position. Honestly, please don't start me in Neil Doncaster.
He'd probably pay the full price for a DFS sofa. One of these stolen from Frankie
You
Boyle.
find a way to pay more, Brian, and then like somehow end up promoting it to everyone as like the great that he's paid full price. Clown, absolute clown.
It's to do with the rugby on Sunday, says Big Rab.
Oh, okay.
Rugby. A waste of time that is. Huh? You a rugby man at all, Brian? Can you watch Ireland International?
I watch it because it's Ireland, but I'm not it's not. I'm more working stroke lower class. Rugby's always sort of been middle class upper kind of thing. Bunch of rugby.
Poshos like Ian down in Wales probably watches rugby.
No, the irony is in Wales it's a working class sport. So Welsh people absolutely love it. Like I didn't even when I came down here, I couldn't believe that people actually liked rugby. I thought, I'm in Cardiff, there's only one team. Everyone's going to be Cardiff City, and they were like, no, we like the rugby. And I, fresh off the boat for me down here, I thought people were winding me up, but no, love it. I don't know. I mean, it's boring.
What? You like it or not?
Rugby in general, boring. Yeah, I mean, like sometimes the Six Nations of Wales are doing well. There's a bit of atmosphere and you can get carried away. But come on. I mean, I can barely get up for Scottish football internationals, so no chance for the rugby.
I still don't know the rules. I mean, pretend to know the rules. Oh, that's a great turnaround there, whatever.
Turnaround? Turnover?
Turnover, I don't know.
He really doesn't know the rules.
Who cares? You know what I mean? But he can't be, I don't know. There's no point asking me. Is Bill Bowman still playing?
I think that's a good segue into Hearts, because I'm sure we'll see some robust challenges.
There'll be a few rugby tackles.
Tynecastle, I mean, I think, that wouldn't look at a place at Murrayfield. I mean, look at Shanklin. Shanklin looks like he could be a prop for Scotland's size of him, so...
He hasn't scored in a long time as well. He'll probably score against us when he gets.
I think he got one the other week, Brian. I think he's got like one in 14 or 15 games. So, and I'm sure he'll be afforded an opportunity from the spot against us.
Brother beaten referee.
Is it?
I don't know. I'm sure he is. I'm sure it is. It's not going to be anybody. Not be Kevin Clancy anyway.
Well, I was talking to my Heart supporting friend he is somewhat heartened by the new manager, Critchley. He thinks he's kind of got them together a bit.
Don't even know about the new manager.
But he did also predict a dodgy VAR penalty to Celtic because he reckons it's a west of Scotland conspiracy against the east.
We could have done with that when they sent off Yang, couldn't we?
Aye, I was about that then. Aye, put that in your pipe and
I would love us to go up there and annihilate them. And do you remember, was it Aaron Moy scored after like 5 minutes or something on absolute worldly up in Tynecastle a couple of years ago? I can see Kuhn. Well, I would love the Jerry 7-0. There's no reason, because they're one in the league for a reason. Tynecastle, the atmosphere, I've been to Tynecastle a couple of times. It's all right. It's not great. My old boss used to be a Hearts fan and used to drag me to matches when I was over in Scotland. But I have no worries about Hearts. No worries. They'll be gone 20 minutes. They'll be put to the sword. Mm-hmm. Fans will leave.
Well, let's do our usual thing here and look at the table. There we are, sitting pretty at the top. Only on goal difference, of course, from Aberdeen. Hearts are second from bottom, with Hibs bottom, which is pretty mad if you think about it, 2 Edinburgh clubs. What I was saying there about form is reinforced here. If you look at the form table, their form puts them mid-table. They've had a couple of wins and a draw. They've lost 2 of their last 3, though. So, what are we expecting from the game? Are we expecting this to be a game where he plays the people he wants to play in Europe? Or is he going to rest a few people after international exertions? Ian?
I don't know. I think since he's been back, he has taken to managing the squad pretty well. I mean, you've seen him like rotate, and he's kind of learned after the Falkirk game not to rotate so much. I couldn't really guess the team. I know it'll be I can't be nearest our strongest 11. I would think, and it'd be nearest the one that we play against Bruges. Some players, because they'll be away on international duty, may need a little bit more rest. I think it's difficult with the new Hearts manager. You don't really know what you're going to get. They've had probably a good couple of weeks to work in things. I'm not sure if they've had too many players away, so it'll be a good challenge. I think, look, on paper, if we play to our potential, domestically we should beat every team. But again, it's a difficult time, a difficult away fixture, a difficult environment. So you don't know. Hopefully we get the 3 points and put on a good performance.
Over the course of this period, when we looked at all those games there, did we think we're going to see all of the squad playing in this next sort of bunch of 6-7 games? Are we going to see like the Palma and Yang is what's his name? Luke McCowan going to get plenty of game time, couple of starts, Brian?
I think McCowan definitely he'll get a start. I don't know which start, but he'll play a part in the Hearts game. He'd probably come on after 60 minutes. I think Tate's got assisted 60 minutes in him as well. And in terms of wholesale change, I can't see Palma starting for Celtic in any game in the future unless it's a dead rubber. Every game, I mean, Ross County and Hibs could be opportunities for the second string to do it, but as we watched a couple of weeks ago, we had to bring the big guns off the bench. The second string weren't doing it, but if he puts the likes of Jamesy on and as in the sort of, he's very economical fall. I think you said that Ian a few weeks ago, James Forrest. So if he has a few older heads about the place when he makes these wholesale changes, you'll not need to bring AJ off the bench. And I'd be quite happy with Ralston to start against Hearts or any of these other kind of games that we're expected to win. The squad, we've got a good depth in the squad at the minute, and everyone should be fighting for the jersey.
Yeah, I think my main concern probably going into this period, and I don't want to bag on him, but is Ida. I think a lot of the positions we can afford to take one or kind of two out, but I think Kyogo, as he probably should be, is looking by far and away the main man up top and the most dangerous in the striker. Ida just hasn't found his feet. So I would hope that, at the end of this run of fixtures, we're talking about a kind of resurgence of Ida. Maybe he's got some goals. Don't get me wrong, he played well against Atalanta, did his job well, but I'm talking about the Ida of last season. It would be good to see him go on a little bit of a run and put some form together, because that's probably, when we're talking about changing players, Gav, everyone across the pitch, like Vai coming in, like Ralston coming in, McCowan, etc., Forrest, even Palma to an extent, you're kind of all right. I think Ida, we just don't have that backup to Kyogo at the moment. Kyogo's looking like our main man up top, and he is not going to survive that whole run of fixtures. Yeah, Kyogo's the must play, isn't he?
Yeah, he needs a few goals in this next block of fixtures for sure. Could do with that.
Needs to improve his touch as well, Gav. If he's going to be the guy that's there holding up or running into the channels, he needs to work on that a bit, because I can't remember what the game was. He started just before the international break, but he just wasn't holding it up well, and that's something that we need him to do, because that's obviously something that he's been signed to do.
Yeah, for sure.
He's still injured.
Do we want to make it?
And he broke a nose recently.
Well, he got the elbow to the nose, and
he put it
in. Yeah. Is that the game you're referring to? Ian?
Yeah, he got knocked. I mean, yeah. People, I don't think he's done well. I don't think he's done well since he's come back. He's been fine. I think Atlanta was a standout game for him. He set a decent bar for himself at the end of last season, and a lot of people said, he's outperforming. We shouldn't sign him, and I think he's given a lot of ammunition to the people that said we shouldn't sign him because he's just not kind of cut the mustard so far. I know you love a cut the mustard sort of expression, Gav, but
I don't mind cut the mustard. I just think he's been fine, and I think all he needs is a couple of goals, and he'll be laughing.
Gav, do you know what is the origin of cut the mustard? A man like you, I'm sure knows.
Google.
I don't know.
Maybe that's
you can't ask that question without coming armed with the answer.
I would say it's to do with maybe there's all these mustard producers back in the day, and the way of finding out which mustard was the best. I always thought it was cut the mustard. But
I think it's something to do with mustard. I don't think it's mustard as in Dijon.
Oh well, there we go.
Because it's not hard to cut
that's homework. That's homework for us all. Let's find out the origin of that one.
I think it'll be something to do with passing muster and making the cut. Put those two together. Something like that would be my guess. My son's making a lot of noise. Do you mind if I just mute my microphone and shout very loudly?
Go ahead, Cap. You're the host.
I'll do it while you're talking about something else, which is I'm going to talk about this. Well, we're going to move it on a little bit, the Celtic socials and stuff like that. I want to give a shout out to this guy, Uti Chaturvedi. He's like an Indian guy, and he does these really funny videos about football. And as you can see, he's on a David Coote tip at the moment. Those are his last 4 videos. He's absolutely hilarious, and he expresses himself really humorously. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that.
Stop watching Sky Sports again.
He's very good. I don't know what that meant, but this is how Uti ends his videos with this little thing. So I might start just playing this.
Subscribe if you liked the video. Don't if you thought it was shite. Subscribe if you liked the video. Don't if you thought it was shite.
Has he got Scottish heritage?
I don't think so, but he does say shite in the Scottish way, which is interesting. Brian, you're going to enjoy the next little bit that I wanted to talk about. Well, I hope that you've got some contribution to make when I ask, have you been watching this?
Yes.
Oh, very good. And how far into it are you?
There's 9 episodes. I'm at episode 7. I had to take a sabbatical after I didn't know the story, not the story. I didn't know elements of the story of the sisters. And there was a scene. I didn't know that they were force fed in jail. Didn't know they were on hunger strike for a year. I didn't know that. Apologies. But very well done, very well produced. Again, Maxine Peake's in it, and she's a great actress. She was in Early Doors. Not, just watch it and then come back and talk about it. Have you watched it? If you watched the whole thing yourself, Gav?
I have, yeah. Finished it. Do you know what we're talking about, Ian?
Yeah, I've seen the trailer. Not for me. It's I prefer more sci-fi and a little bit less real life.
Yeah.
Well, I think the trailer makes it look amazing, and it is brilliant in parts. That's my take on it, and it's laughably bad in others.
Yeah.
There's some bits of it I'm watching, I'm thinking, God, this is like watching amazing TV, like The Wire or something. And then the next minute, it's the old problem with unrealistic Belfast on the screen.
Well, the only thing I thought was Maxine Peake, who's playing
her accent.
That's a Derry accent she has, and she's not.
She drops. That's the thing. If you're from Belfast, right, you can spot a proper Belfast accent a mile away, and you're watching it going Belfast, Derry, Dublin, probably England, Belfast. And some of the accents are just, and some of the casting, for a start, these two are brilliant.
No, that week on the right is she's going to go into bigger and better things. She was fantastic. Both of them were great.
Both of them are great. But this guy is a young Jerry Adams. It's absolutely comical.
I thought he was very good there, doing Jerry.
Did you?
I thought he was. I thought really thought he was brilliant.
Oh, I couldn't watch him.
No,
And like, you think they'd get an actor who's capable of growing a beard? Because that wee stick-on, glued-on, wispy
Yeah,
thing.
but, you know, this is an aside. Do you know this is the thing? It's continuity that they give people fake beards. It's very rare now that people actually grow their own beard for these things, etc., because they have like a stock of beards to keep the continuity of all the facial hair. Because I thought that because I can't remember something I was watching and then talking about going down a rabbit hole, Brian. I was there. It's a continuity thing that people get them and the beard technology is developed as 4K is developed to not show that it's fake. So there you go.
Craig Young making an existential point here, I think, about life. Shout is universal. So, should we discuss that? No.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
The Kevin Bridges skit about instead replacing shit with shite is brilliant. He come up to my house, I've got some good shite, as opposed to, hey man, I've got some good shit.
I've never heard that.
Oh, he does the thing. He replaces shite.
Oh, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
He replaces shit with shite. Hey man, the shit's going down. Hey man, the shite's going down.
Very good. That's a clever observation. Paddy Hoey, this is a guy who I'm connected to on Blue Sky. I think he's obviously from Belfast. He says the amount of excruciatingly bad expositional dialogue and saying nothing is off the scale. There's a conversation in episode 8 that is as ripe as anything you'll see. Do you know what expositional dialogue is?
I guess there's got to be an element of that, right, for people that aren't familiar with the story. Like if you're familiar with the story, then you don't need the exposition. But if it's on Disney Plus, right?
Disney Plus, yeah.
And FX in the States, so you're going to need an element of that. You think you're just going to have to suck that one up?
I know. Two characters having a conversation they would never have in real life just to further the story for the viewer. Absolutely ridiculous. But no, I think it's a good show. I recommend it. It's definitely worth watching. I think if you're not from Belfast, you might absolutely love it. But it's a hard accent to do, isn't it, Brian? For people.
I remember the Mickey Rourke movie years ago, Prayer for the Dead. It was appalling, but we used to watch it because it was so bad. All right, fire. There'll be no more killing. All this stuff. Oh Jesus, terrible accent.
That's a direct quote.
I remember reading on a wall in Derry, Ireland will never be free under British rule. It was appalling, But it is a hard accent to do. It's because we see your wee man Stephen Graham in The Irishman. He's a wee scally from Liverpool, and he's talking away the Yank accent. I'm sure they think that about us. The
I think you're either good at accents or you're not, and I think some of the actors can do passable ones, but the ones that are really good at it, they do fly. So
you should have been an actor, Gav. You can do all the accents.
Well, here's a wee accent to jump in and to take away the embarrassment of that.
Hello, lovely boys. I love the Celtic world. I do. Absolutely brilliant. If you haven't already, subscribe immediately.
That's how people talk where you're from, isn't it, Ian?
Ironically, I can do a couple of decent accents, but the Welsh one is a difficult one to do. It tends to migrate into like some sort of like horrific Indian accent. If you get it wrong, it looks like you're doing some mad racist. So.
Subscribe if you like the video. Don't if you thought it was shite.
Subscribe if you like the video. If you like the video, subscribe to a Celtic World. That's
all right. There's 136 people watching live, which is pretty good, considering you're not sharing anymore. We've lost that. We've lost that Ian's Twitter audience. That's depressing.
Gav, I take it you get this one. Big Ennis. Some of the boys are putting in the chat on the Madurai.
What are you talking about?
There's one of the guys in the comments put up about Big Ennis at a still game being on the Madurai. The Madurai, the melon liqueur. Have you never watched still game?
I have, but I don't get that reference.
But you know the big guy when he comes along to get all the Neds? There's an episode and he does he's a bit of a maniac when he has the Madeira. It's like a melon liqueur. He goes complete psychopath.
Oh yeah,
He's the
that
big
rings a bell.
fella that comes anyway, went down like a lead balloon. Yeah, look like all.
I'll take
Totally
that, Coach.
okay.
I think that's actually a compliment with it down here, to be fair. So
Someone else said that when are you going to take the Smarties off your head and eat them?
I'd love a pack of Smarties at the moment, to be fair.
People aren't loving your sense of style, Ian. I get the sense in the comments.
Well,
You're
do
too
you know
young and
what?
cool.
If I cared what people thought, I mean, like, you know, I'm going to offend someone, so.
Well, don't do that. Instead, let's thank everyone in the comments for partaking, as always. Appeal to people that if they don't think this was pure pish or shite, as our friend says, feel free to subscribe. Do subscribe. It's absolutely free. Cost you nothing.
And like and subscribe, Gav.
Yeah,
Because
like.
liking is important for the algorithm as well.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, subscribing is the number I look at, and I'd like to see that grow. We're just shy of 1,500. So your likes mean, or your subscribes mean a lot more to us than these jokers with 50k and numbers like that. So, like I say, it's totally free. We'll never charge you for content. We're like the blue sky of Celtic media and media, aren't we?
They call it green sky. They see that's the thing. I don't think anything blue. Just
Yeah, there's talk of them trying to change it to green sky or calling it that. But I've even heard people saying it should be pronounced blueski.
blue
You heard that? That's ridiculous. Anyway, thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you to Brian in Ireland. Thank you to Ian in Wales. We will see you again on the next one. So this is your last chance to subscribe. Go on, do it. Do it quickly before I play the outro. Cheerio. Bye.